One joint session of the College Park Business and Industrial Development Authority meeting. At this time, I would like to call the meeting to order on behalf of BIDA.
And it is 6:31 p.m. and we have a quorum with council members Clay, Allen, and Gay. So, and Councilman Taylor as well. So that our council meeting is called to order as well.
Okay, at this time, I would like to, we'll call the roll for BIDA and any guests that we may have. We do have a new member who I would like to introduce officially later in the meeting, but we'll go through and just, I'm Jamel McKenzie, the chair of BIDA.
Greetings, citizens of College Park. This is Demetrius Taylor, your vice chair.
Everyone, this is Leslie Zinn, secretary.
Hello, this is Celissa Jefferson, Ward 4.
Councilmember Roderick Gay, good evening, Ward 4.
Ken Allen, councilman for the wonderful Ward 3.
Ambrose Clay, councilman, Ward 1.
Bianca Motley Broom, mayor.
Eric Taylor, Mayor Pro Tem Ward 2.
Good evening, everyone. I am Mercedes Miller, the interim city manager for the great city of College Park.
Good evening, everyone. R.D. Jones, executive director of Clearly College Park.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the administrative assistant for economic development, Sabretha Beasley, and also the assistant secretary treasurer of BIDA.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Renee Coakley, the Main Street manager for the city of College Park.
Good evening, Denise Cole, interim executive director, Georgia International Convention Center, Gateway Center Arena.
Dan Lee, I'm off camera, looking for y'all. And I'm the attorney for Clearly College Park. Glad to be here.
Good evening, Shabelle Moore, city clerk, city of College Park.
Tasha Hall Garrison, community development administrator, city of College Park.
Hi, Nikki Washington, city of College Park, city planning.
I think that might be everyone.
Did we, so Derek Taylor, I didn't remember.
Yes, he did.
Okay, and Lisa. Well, everyone, it's good to have you with us today. We're going to begin the meeting with item B.
Recording in progress.
Roll call. I'm not roll call. Review and approval of our minutes. You've already done the roll call. Excuse me. So number 2, rather, review of our minutes from our September 9th meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the minutes as is unless we have someone who disagrees.
Okay. Is there someone that would like to second that?
I'll second.
Okay. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. It looks like everyone said aye on BIDA. Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to go into if we have any additions, deletions, amendments, or changes to the agenda. Do we have any this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair. We have one item we would like to add, an item B under 4B under new business. It would be the Finding the Flint update. Tasha Hall Garrison.
Okay. All righty. Do we need to vote on that, or is that can we just add that on? Or
you need to vote on it.
Okay, so we'd like to take a motion from the floor for us to add on Finding the Flint, which would be item 4B under new business.
So moved.
Okay, second? City one second. Okay, Councilman Taylor. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you very much. And I don't think that this needs to be necessarily added under new business, but we do have a new BIDA board member. Is it okay for me to say something on that this time?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So I would like to formally acknowledge and welcome Ms. Alyssa Jefferson, our Ward 4 BIDA appointee, and to the BIDA board. We're so happy to have you. And at this time, Alyssa, would you like to say anything to us?
I just thank you for welcoming me and glad to be here.
Okay, well, thank you. Roll your sleeves up. It's a lot of work.
I know that's right, girl. Come on.
You're laughing now, but you know. All righty. Okay, so at this time we'll move on to item A under new business, which is a discussion of the annual awards banquet. As many of you know that in the past, BIDA has celebrated the businesses in the College Park area in the month of December. We have usually had a big shindig. It's been a wonderful event which has been held at the Georgia International Convention Center. And last year we went through COVID, so you know things were closed and social distancing and not really having a vaccine at the time. So we did not have that event last year. And in fact, the businesses were really not even formally acknowledged the businesses of the year until January of 2021. But we want to change that this year. So we had a committee, we discussed this several meetings ago, and a committee was formed amongst the BIDA board. And I'm looking for my other committee member, she's not here now. And we discussed, you know, being able to do this year, some form, some fashion. So in your packet, that does mention what that might look like. We do know that whether we're able to have an event, and that's, I guess, a budgetary issue and maybe even more of a planning issue, we still want to do something this year to acknowledge the businesses and business owners. We have 5 categories normally that we have been acknowledging, and that is a business of the year, and for the Main Street, Virginia, Leslie, you're okay. Yeah, for the Main Street, Virginia Avenue corridor, and that would be a business that operates 5 or more years. Then we have the business of the year for the Old National. Can you mute yourself? Okay. Okay, for the Old National South Side corridor, we have the Legacy Award, which recognizes a business owner or business that's been in College Park doing business for 20 years or more. And then we have a special recognition, which is a nonprofit or profit organization that's made outstanding contributions to economic development. And last, the new business person of the year, which would be a business person who's been doing business for less than 5 years. And I don't know if Demetrius wants to say something more on this, since he's one of our other committee members who was part of this. We do believe that this is something that is important, that we acknowledge our businesses in some type of tangible way, and which would require us to, if this is what we decide to move forward with, we would need to nominate businesses within the next few weeks and then vote on those and have a vote on those businesses by the beginning of December, if not the end of November. So it is a decision that we do need to discuss or make even determine at this meeting. So Demetrius, did you want to say anything on this?
Well, yes, it is very imperative that we acknowledge our businesses, simply because COVID has really done a job on the city itself. And without our businesses forging through, particularly those who became new businesses within that same amount of time, we had a lot of new businesses that have come on board and really have become part of the heartbeat of College Park. And I really believe that it's up to us to show good favor with our businesses, and also to let the citizens know that we appreciate our businesses. So I believe that having this as an annual event that we usually have, we understand what the pandemic has done. And I think in our efforts of trying to recover, I believe something of this magnitude will be able to show the city that the city itself is recovering, so that it's more than just sports and those kinds of events that folks have become saying, oh, well, they're doing something. I think to acknowledge our businesses would be a good step, or a step in the right direction to show good favor. So we're hoping that this proposal will not fall on deaf ears, and that we can come to some kind of consensus to make sure that our businesses are acknowledged this year properly.
I don't know if Dr. Anita would like to say anything on this. You were one of the people that the three of us met to discuss the business of the year, doing something for our businesses. Did you want to say anything, Anita, on this before we?
No, I concur. I'm sorry I joined late. I didn't have the right meeting address. So I encourage and support the concept of this event. So I think it's a good idea. I'm sorry I missed Demetrius's talk.
So at this time, we'd like to this is a discussion item, so we'd just really like to discuss this and hopefully reach some type of consensus today so that we can move forward with this.
Do we have any idea how much it would cost?
Okay, Sabretha has actually reached out to Denise Cole and her staff, and basically it all depends on what we try to do. I mean, the budget would be, first thing, I think that we realize that maybe a dinner type of event is out of the question at this point in terms of planning, and what that would require financially could be really high. We were looking at if we were to use the GICC, which is not the only location, that it would be something kind of just a reception where you have 6 feet seating, social distancing, and auditorium style, have the actual program, and then persons would either get some type of a bag or some type of gift bag or something on the way out. So that would probably be the lowest cost in terms of the GICC. But if we were to even, I think we were talking about, Sabretha, we were going to connect with even the auditorium, the College Park Auditorium, to look at hosting something there. Sabretha?
Well, I did not get Artie. Artie says for me just to wait, for you all to kind of go through him to get to me. And then that way I can take direction on, how to move forward. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. So to answer your question, Mayor Motley Room, we don't have a cost yet because we don't even have a budget.
Well, I'm all for acknowledging the businesses, but I'm not up for any money being spent. We're seriously in debt and we need to practice some frugality. And so, in East Point, they brought a proclamation over to our company and said, like you're like the company of the day or whatever. And if you want to do some sort of announcement, but in regards to paying money for food and whatnot, I would not be in favor of that.
That was actually going to be my suggestion about what if the board goes to these businesses and presents some level of recognition to all these business categories.
Okay. That's doable. However, I want to say this delicately. I really believe that we, in order for us to be clearly College Park, one of the things that we have to do is to raise awareness of our businesses and to create some form of media attention. Oftentimes, in the past when we've done it, we've had Channel 2 and other personalities to come out to be our MCs and carry it on. We gave College Park the recognition that it deserves as we are a city on the move. I understand that we're looking to be as cost effective as possible. However, at the same time, the cities have been doing a lot to, the businesses have been doing a lot to make sure that the city's heartbeat is still beating. They're the ones who open up businesses. They're the ones who are paying taxes and things of that nature. And I think that it's up to us to make sure that we do something on a grander scale. There's something just a little impersonal than just going to their business. And we do that anytime we go to sit down to eat, when we go to patronize them. We do that anyway. I think that as an entity, we need to do something, even if it's just a small reception of some sort at the auditorium, to where it is to say, hey, thank you for what you've done to the city. It would be on a scale that would not be so impersonal, that could be misconstrued, or we're just patronizing the business, because this is more than just patronizing them.
Oh no, I meant bring, if we can get PR, LinkedIn, get video, get photography, have the BIDA board show up, set up a time to support each of these businesses. I didn't mean just patronize. I mean, whatever marketing and PR connections and everything that we have, that we do that in conjunction with showing up at each of these businesses. I apologize if I was unclear.
I'll make a comment while we're waiting on another comment. I want to say this publicly. I have a bone to pick when we start minimizing what we want to do for businesses in our community. Quite a few of the dollars that, aside from the tax dollars that come from our citizens, it's taxes that these businesses pay that help run our city, the alcohol taxes that they pay. And just the fact that we have these businesses makes College Park what it is. We're not East Point. We've never been, and we never need to be. We need to be College Park. And so when we measure ourselves, we need to measure ourselves not against what everybody else is doing, but we also need to look at what we have done. You know, if you have in a situation, if we had never done anything for businesses, that would be one thing. But when you go from celebrating businesses in such grandeur, and then you minimize it down, that's a slap in the face of the very businesses that are keeping our city looking the way it looks. So I'm not saying we need to spend $1 gazillion, but we just now had a retreat. We had to pay for that. And if we could spend even $4,000 or $5,000 for something, we can put $4,000 or $5,000 into something for our business owners. So this is a hot spot for me. I have been kind of championing this since the beginning of this year when we did what we did last year. The businesses that we awarded last year, some of them felt that it was a slap in the face to them. They were insulted by the piece of paper that they were given. And I think that BIDA should and can do better. And the city of College Park can and should do better. We should want to do better. Some things, you know, a lot of people do things that they don't have money to do. But it's not always about money. It's about the people. So that's my personal on that. And like I said, it doesn't matter, whatever way the board decides to go on this, I'm going to champion it. But I just felt like I needed to say that we can do better and we should.
I'd like to make a comment, if I may. Am I stepping on somebody's voice here?
Oh, no, I think that, go ahead, Dr. Cadis.
I think that one of the issues for me, and it appears, is not the concept or the principle, but that of money. And without a budget, we really cannot estimate. I mean, it is a good cause. So can we perhaps even scrap out a budget or get some sense of if it's just for a gathering? Because it's going to cost money to do all of the PR stuff too. And so if we have two competing ideas, let's map out a budget, minimal though it might be, or brief though it might be, and make a decision based upon the facts of what it's going to cost us, if that's the real issue here. If there's other underlying issues, we don't need to attend to them. But if the bottom line issue is how much is this going to cost us, recognize that everything's going to cost us unless we just don't do anything. And that has another kind of non-tangible cost. And let's map out the cost and then make a decision. And it doesn't have to be December necessarily. It can be in January. COVID is still an issue. And some people are just not going to want to gather where there's food and drink and talking anyway. So that aside, that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Cadis. You hit the nail on the head. That's the same thing that I was about to come up with, is that we have to form a budget first and foremost. I can speak to you about fiscally about BIDA and what's been set aside for this type of event. Basically, we have no funds set aside for this event because we cut it out due to the budget, shortfalls and COVID and the drop of, significant taxes citywide. And the trend continues to go in that same direction. It would be a lot easier if we said that we decide what a budget, we go out and raise those funds for that particular item or whatever could be spared for this particular event, and we build the event around that amount. That way we'll know whether it needs to be at the GICC or the College Park Auditorium or the Brady Recreation Center. And I think that, the businesses are very important. They're very, very important. But the reason that their taxes remain consistent and that they are not increasing is because we're being very, 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 I should say, frugal. We are saving dollars where we can. We're not doing anything outside of the ordinary, but at the same time, customer service has not dropped in the citywide also. So that's my 2 cents. We need to establish a budget, find out how we're going to come up with that budget, and then develop the event around the budget.
Artie, do you have any feel for what the budget has been in the past? Because, for example, it costs something to make the awards that are given out, right? If you're going to do more than a slip of paper,
right?
You have a nice award, and maybe that's all you have. Well, I don't know how much those awards cost. I don't know how much it costs for a stand-up dinner or cafeteria style dinner, what have you.
Yeah.
Do we have any feeling for some of those ingredients, some of those pieces to the puzzle as to how much they cost?
I can provide you with that information. I'm quite sure Mercedes and can also back that up. The event itself, from the time that I got here in 2013 until, 2 years ago before COVID, it ranged anywhere from $50,000 to right at about $70,000. If you have anything at the GICC, if you don't have quality sound, quality lighting, which is the significant cost with it for the event, it's not College Park. It's not the type of thing that we do. Whenever we do something, we do it right here. When the money was available, we spent it. Now that the money's not coming in, of course, we got to pull back. So anything that you have at the GICC is going to be very expensive. But you guys saw how Brady Recreation Center was done when we had the groundbreaking. It was beautiful, but that wasn't free. Even that particular event cost the neighborhood of about $17,000 to $20,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. Significant amount. But that just shows you that it's not the facility itself. It's about, it was the great planning and everything else. I'm not sure how much we can come up with being able to raise between now and the event. And of course, if something like this is going to go on, we need to go ahead and start reserving things. We need to go ahead and start to order things, because even the little giveaways, the mask and things of that nature, with the giveaways that we would have, those type of items had to be done almost 6 to 8 weeks in advance, or you had to get a rush order on those things, and then that increased the price about 15 to 20% on those items. So I hope I answered your question. It can be as grand as you want, but of course we don't have that type of money. My suggestion is that it would have to be away from the GICC or the arena, just because of the other things that would have to go into it to make it look really nice and really classy. Unless the GICC or Ms. Cole, has better ideas, but it's real expensive.
Has anybody thought of, when you have another event, like the tree event in College Park, or you light up the city, recognizing them at that point where they get the recognition in front of other people, and it means a little bit more to them, at the same time doesn't really cost an awful lot?
That's a great idea, Councilman Allen.
It is a great idea. I agree. So
and I wanted to,
go ahead, Mr. Jefferson.
I definitely concur with as far as the businesses being recognized, but there are other creative marketing ways that you can do it. I think the greatest success to the businesses in the city of College Park is their visibility. And I know you guys previously had the Clearly College Park podcast. You can do a feature spotlight on how the businesses interact with the community and the services that they provide. There are other creative ways outside of just presenting an award. A lot of cities conduct feature spotlight interviews or visuals to show the business and the services that they render, and then how their impact has been within the community.
I think that's an excellent idea. And the thing is that here at the City of College Park, we do have the capability, because we do have staff here that can put things together like that. And it can be you can run on our television station, and we could have it, before the city council meetings and in between the city council meetings, between the workshop session. These videos can actually run and give those businesses the acknowledgement that they deserve. I think that gives them, that's better than a trophy. That's better than a flag. And it's something that the gift that keeps giving, because it's always out there.
I mean, ultimately what we want for businesses is for them to continue to grow. And so if we are supporting them with that marketing, the PR, that the opportunities for them to gain additional exposure, I think Ms. Jefferson's points are very, very well taken and really great.
And that's not to say that they would not get an award also at that time during this event. That's not to say that the BIDA board will not still go over to their business and shake their hands and take pictures in front of their business and everything, so that the community sees that we're working with these businesses also, and they feel, like I said, appreciated. It's not just a piece of paper. It's not just saying, hey, thanks for your business. This is not an email or just an acknowledgement during a board meeting like we did 2 years ago. It's a great deal more. A lot of thought has gone into it. I think I'd be appreciated if I was a business person.
Madam Chair, may I suggest
yes,
that?
Absolutely.
That I'd like all of what was said with Councilman Allen and with Celissa.
Yes.
That can we come back to this? Can we put a pin in this and reconvene with the committee so that we can really look into this? Because I like the idea of utilizing our media department, since they're already on staff, to go through and to utilize them with capturing our businesses. That way we can have something ongoing that would be a self-promotion for the city, and then also draw the citizens to the channel. That there has a multiple piece there that we can get the communication that a lot of the citizens are saying we don't have readily available. It can start that particular movement to where we can draw attention to our channel and everything that College Park has to offer through our businesses. I really like that.
One quick thing also is that in the past, when we have had the annual awards banquet, our communications department, before we would even have the program, the communications department would go to all of the awardees and they would actually do videos for all of them. So this is not something that hasn't been done before. The only difference is we're taking the banquet, the awards program directly to the people in a, you know, a video, and we're just not in the huge building of the GICC. So I think it's something that, like I said, it can be done. And also, I don't think you should kind of, if you're going to do it, I think you need to go ahead and move forward with it now. We would start this event, we would start in September, getting everything together for the event that would happen in December. And that's not to say that we need to have it in December, just like Ms. Kata said earlier, it might be January, but this may be something that we can, what we're talking about right now, and I'm not trying to speak for the committee, but what we're talking about right now, putting together a program, a video for these businesses. I believe that is something that could possibly be done, you know, by the month of December. But of course, we have to talk to the communications department. We have to we have to vote on who should get the awards. We have to, I think, still order some awards. You know, you'd want to give them something in addition so that they could put it on their mantle, put it in their business, have a conversation piece. But I think that those components, it's something that needs to move forward now. Or if we don't move forward now, it's going to be rushed if we try to meet the deadline in December.
I totally agree. I think this has really been a great discussion. So we still need to work out the details of what this event or what this is going to look like. I think, like I said, we've come some great things, but what we need to do, and Sabritha and I already talked about this yesterday, that what we will do is we will get a survey, we'll get a nomination form to all the BIDA board members between now and the next week or so. And what you will do is you will nominate businesses in those categories that you think should be. And then we'll go on to, from the nominations to actually determining which of the businesses would be those businesses. And awards, again, the awards themselves don't have to cost a whole bunch of money. I mean, I get trophies, these type of done all the time, and they're under $100. So you're looking at probably not more of a $400 budget to be able to, you know, give something nice to 5 businesses. So are we in agreement that we will move forward with the process and start working on this in terms of some of the ideas that we've thrown around, making this something that's really nice, that the businesses, you know, are really showing appreciation, but it doesn't have to be something like the Taj Mahal.
I was going to say, I loved Councilman Allen's idea of coordinating it with the tree presentation.
I love that.
I think it's a great idea.
Fabulous. Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
I did have one question about the voting. I know that as a board, we are nominating businesses for these categories, but is the voting open to the residents?
In the past, it has not been. Last year, for some reason, it was opened up to the residents. This was really, truly something that was a BIDA board. BIDA nominated, BIDA voted. And that is the way that we've done it. And that is the way we can do this quickly. I mean, my suggestion is that we stick within the BIDA board, because this is an award that's being given to the businesses from the Business Industrial Development Authority, not necessarily a college. It's not a College Park, City of College Park awards alone. It is a business, and that's how it's been done. So, like I said, last year a lot of things changed, and that's another thing that took us so much time, because just trying to get the input from the community, you have to advertise to the community. Not that I'm saying I don't want the community to be involved, but our time is so short right now, especially if we want to try to do something during the month of December, like what Councilman Allen has suggested.
I was just going to make the suggestion that if we leave I kind of like the idea of the citizens having an opportunity to vote on it. They're the ones who are patronizing these businesses, but obviously whatever the board decides is fine by me. But we could just leave voting open for a week and put it on the city website. You know, we've got that drop down box that we could utilize, and we get as many votes as we can, and close it out. But if the board wants to just keep it a board thing, that's fine too.
That's up to the board.
I really think that this particular one should be left to the board. I think the citizens' appreciation is a separate thing, and that there could be a separate way that the businesses can be highlighted and spotlighted through College Park. Is this come from BIDA itself, and then we can possibly start a citizens a citizens like a people's choice kind of thing, to where the citizens could get involved and we can actually hear a lot of their feedback collectively, and not just have Renee take on the heat from everything that the citizens may have to say. I think that there would give us a second opportunity to allow College Park to be highlighted and the businesses to be spotlighted.
Any more discussion?
I think one thing I'd like to add is that
Clay.
one thing I wanted to add is that a lot of the things that I've seen done recently, voting on things on social media, have often turned out to be, at the minimum, a popularity contest. And secondly, they are often gamed. You know, how many times can I vote in a day, or how many times can the mechanism that we use to obtain the votes could turn it into something that somebody just sets up with their friends to make their business popular. And the advantage of having the board do it is that the board is more removed from that. They are only one vote each, et cetera, et cetera. It just seems like it would be more deliberative and less likely to be capable of being manipulated by one particular business that just wanted to score well on it. Just my personal thoughts. I'm not voting.
I'm glad you gave your input though, because that is my sentiment. And that sometimes if we don't, there's certain populations of our city, they're not even going to be aware of even being able to vote. And so it's if you have to really highly publicize it if you want to get city input, and that's fair. And I do agree with Councilman Clay that it's very easy for people to just continue to vote. All you got to do is change computers, change IP addresses, you know, and sometimes you can vote twice on something. So it's a BIDA, this is something that BIDA is doing for the businesses. And we had a meeting, and I don't want to get into so much, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but we have spent a lot of time. But we also need to define who we are as BIDA and what BIDA does. And so there's some things that should be reserved for BIDA so that we have the understanding this is what the Business Industrial Development Authority stands for and what they do. So this is also helping to make a statement of what BIDA is, and that BIDA cares as well for the businesses and the business community here in College Park. So I don't know if we need to, I guess at this point, is there any more discussion? If not, I'd like to take a motion on the floor to move forward with this and for the vote to be, and this to be a BIDA project.
I would like to make that motion that we move forward with development of this particular project to recognize our businesses, and that this remains to be solely on BIDA's behalf. A BIDA award presentation or a program, and as we develop this, we're able to bring that information to the public as quickly as possible.
Would someone second that long motion?
I second.
Okay, those in favor, this time raise the hand because we may have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, all right, awesome. We have it, it's unanimous. Thank you so much. Let's move on. Finding the Flint update, new business item 4B.
Okay, I'm gonna let Tasha take over at this time. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council and BIDA Board. So I am coming before you first because I wanted to provide an update from when we last presented regarding the finding the Flint Headwaters Nature Preserve, as well as an update as we are tonight submitting for a grant, or actually it'll be tomorrow is the deadline. Submitting for the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program. Currently, what I am seeking is I do want to present as far as the draft of the concept for the park. If accepted by the body, then I would like to have you accept the proposed draft as contingent upon the submission of the grant. So giving us approval to submit and say that you are good moving forward with it. Artie, it's the next screen. Well, this actually is a good one to show because that was the property as it currently is for the Finding the Flint Headwaters. We've been working on this project with economic development, the Conservation Fund, the ARC, and Finding the Flint on this for the past 4 years. And this is the property that we received confirmation back in March that MARTA agreed to sell to the city. So currently it is an undeveloped 7-acre parcel. We have completed numerous community charrettes, one being with Horizon Summer Camp, as well as the second being with the community charrette, which Anita came and visited and got to participate in. So the image that you're seeing is actually what is being proposed for the grant. We did have a phasing to make it more affordable on the city. This is actually phase 1 of the project. So as you see a constructed wetland, a larger one in J. You also see a secondary constructed wetland in K. There also is a repositioning of the river so that it flows. If you've been to the site, such as Councilman Allen and Mayor Motley Broom, you'll see that it actually has been, the river has been really forced to flow in a certain, really in a certain conduit. What we're wanting to do is we want to bring back the naturalness of the park. So we want to bring back the park as it would have been when Georgia was first inhabited. And we want to bring back the natural flow that occurs. What it will do is it will actually lengthen the river somewhat in the headwaters. It will actually give it more opportunity to self-cleanse itself before heading underneath the airport. Another element, we have been able to extend the mulch track. That was actually a request from Woodward through their cross-country team. They are adjacent to the property with their track, and the cross-country team asked if they could have more of a terrain to run on. So that was no problem. We love working with our partners. So we did increase that track on H so that they would have a longer space to be able to run in conjunction with their track. You'll see G, which is a berry picking trail. It gives people the opportunity to really be one with nature, to travel along that mulch track and have the opportunity to pick berries and fruits from the native trees. We've actually partnered with Trees Atlanta as well as the Georgia Audubon to be sure we are not the specialists. As you all know, I'm an economic development professional. I am not a tree arborist, nor am I a bird specialist. So I make sure to get with the groups that really know what they're referencing. And what we really want to do is help to bring more birds and more pollinators into the park and into College Park so that they can have a healthy environment. You'll notice on U, we also kept the secondary entry off of Elm Street so that this will not only be accessible off of Willingham Drive, but it will be accessible to our local residents here on Elm. There is another, if you continue to slide, I do want to show you as well what we imagine for the final phase, because this is just the beginning of the park. There are additional opportunities, and just while we have this one, you will see the referee picking is, or you may see the trails where it's hiked at. You see a circular actually roundabout, which is an outdoor classroom opportunity that will be included within the second and third phase. As well as you see some minimal parking, as well as with the binoculars, some bird watching opportunities. And right there in the middle of the screen next to the trail, there's actually an opportunity for people to safely cross through the stream so that we can really feel how it is to walk in the river. If we continue going on, this is actually the submission for the grant, so you get to see what the DNR will be seeing. We've included some images of, these are actually images from the park itself. You'll notice Councilman Allen is your neighbor when we were out picking berries. And you'll just see really the nature that is already existing there. What we're truly seeking to do, it would be necessary for the classroom. There was a thing with parking of making sure we have the primary parking lot that we requested, but then there's also an opportunity for a secondary, which we felt that with the development of phase one, we can begin to see what the need will be and expand upon there. So another item that was listed within this second and third phase that you're seeing is also a maintenance shed. Public Works with the City of College Park would be responsible for enhancing the maintenance or maintaining the park. It would be very minimal because we will be using native plants. So they don't need as much cutting. They don't need as much water. There are things that already exist in really in College Park and in Georgia in general, but we would still need some equipment on hand. But we did take that out once again to be financially conservative going into this first phase. But this just expounds upon the vision that we have for this park and what this area could become. We did rely heavily upon the charrettes that were served. Honestly, everything that was placed in there was formulated through communication with the community and through communication with Woodward Academy and any adjacent neighboring properties, so that we can make sure that this is a park that would not only be utilized currently by residents, but that would grow with the city as we continue to create that community we deserve. And then these are just some existing or actually photographs that were used from the charrette to give ideas of what we would like to see on the property. So as you see, it is more pavers that are used instead of having concrete surfaces. We wanted something more impervious. We also were looking to have more of a hard surface when it comes to some of the trails, just because it may be an opportunity in recreation to have a concert or to have an art show, or to be able to, maybe you want to come and ride your scooter. We want to make sure that there's an opportunity for things to safely travel through it. So there was that there, as well as one of the things that luckily came from the charrette was that our community wants to have a sense of the wildlife that is already occurring in the area, and they want to be able to view the wildlife from a distance. So there was an opportunity to include wildlife viewing platforms. So that's what you're seeing now, is that opportunity for us to be one with nature, but not having to be directly into the nature. And as stated, we are working with our partners, Trees Atlanta. You will hear about them later in my presentation, but we do have some really great regional partners that the city has already partnered with. And we are building new relationships, such as with the Georgia Audubon, to continue opportunities to educate our youth in our community as to really the ongoings that are already going on in our community on the natural level. And we can continue on, Artie.
That's it.
Okay. So what I am asking at this time is if mayor and council and the BIDA board support or accept the park as it is for the submission, or really for the cost for us to submit for this grant. This grant would give us the opportunity to have $2.2 million going towards the grant. We have received over $160,000 to date in private donations, as well as we're continuing to seek additional private donations. So we do hope to come back with an update for increased funds. I do as well plan to present the full scope of the budget to mayor and council to include kind of the grants that have been received to date, as well as the in-kind matches. But at this point, I would just ask that if you do support the project and the concept that was given, that you do authorize the chair to just write a letter of support for the grant, so that we can include that and include, really enhance our chances of bringing this to fruition for the city.
Tasha, I have one question for you.
Sure.
Concern basically about when you mentioned I think the project's a great project. I have concerns about pavers. I just kind of wondering what made you all decide to go that route. Yeah, I know they look nice, but my concerns is this, when you start talking about walking on pavers, persons with disabilities, wheelchairs, if we're having something like this, we definitely want people that have disabilities to be able to feel that they can come out and enjoy it. So my question is, I guess my biggest question is, what is being done in this project to accommodate individuals with disabilities, and just making sure that the surfaces are such that persons with, like I said, I myself, I was in a cast for a long time, a boot, crutches. It's almost virtually impossible to
and those experiences help us to truly understand the diversity of our community. I remember when you were in the booth, so that experience. What I will say is that with economic development, we truly lead from a place of equality. The reason that the decision initially, when we first went into the project, we wanted to keep things as natural as possible. There is evidence of native birds as well as deer that currently live on the property, that you can see the excrement, you can see their trails and tracks. And we wanted to make sure that we're not doing anything to deter them from their homeland, as well as anything to, adversely affect the community or environment there. The decision of pavers really had to do with the long-term maintenance. When we were looking at wood, or we were looking at mulch, or just more of a natural substance, the amount of money of maintenance it would take would be not as cost effective as laying the initial pavers. The concept, as well as including more of the hard surfaces, was in mind so that individuals who are mobility challenged would be able to still travel through the holistic park, that they wouldn't have to stop at a certain point, that they would be able to go from point A to B to C and be involved in each element. So it was really thought so that everyone can have the same experience in the property.
Okay. So basically you're saying, even though you have that, there is an alternative for the persons that might not be able to.
Correct. No, they would definitely, for the paved surfaces, it actually leads right through the wetlands or right to the wetlands. So whereas someone who would be taking the mulch, they would have to take more of the long way around. Because of the paved route, it takes them directly through the middle. So that gives them an opportunity as well to see the same amenities, but also to make sure that they were ADA compliant and that we're able to provide the same experience to all of our residents. So yes, that has been thought out, not only of just including for ADA compliance, but also in making sure that we not only have parking for vehicles, we have parking for golf carts. We've included parking for bicycles. We looked at a gate, like I said, going into Elm Street so that people can walk into the property. So we really try to holistically think of everyone, not only just College Park residents, but also East Point residents that would want to come into the property.
Okay, thank you.
Asha, I have a question.
Sure.
I didn't tour the park with the recent tour, but when we first opened it up, we had an opportunity to walk that area when we were hoping to get it from MARTA. And I did a lot of walking around that area, and there is a lot of concrete that is lining that stream bed. So if you're talking about rerouting the stream or allowing it go back to a more natural route, that implies to me that you're going to be removing that concrete. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we have spoken with our environmental designers or our environmental engineers. As far as the concrete there that's there, it does not provide the optimum filtration to the river system. So we would like to change the conduit somewhat so it would have more of a natural flow as well as a natural river rock there, as well as to help filter the water as it continues downstream through the airport onto Clayton County and to Middle Georgia.
So in figuring out the rough costs and the phases and what have you taken account of the cost of removing all that concrete?
Yes, sir, we have. And I have it scheduled currently to present in detail to mayor and council the beginning of November, the first meeting in November, so that I can go over that in detail. But I can talk to that if you would like to hear that currently.
No, not here. It's not appropriate. But I just want to make sure you thought of that, because personally, I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see it go back to a natural flow and create the more of a natural habitat for the animals and the birds and what have you. So I'm not against doing it. I just want to make sure that we know how much we're biting off and in what phase you're planning to do it. I assume that would be the first phase, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. That is a part of the first phase. And as I stated, we did have previously 3 funding options. We did try to, the things that like the classroom, where we knew that it may take us some time to figure out what the programming would be, we made sure to include that more in the second and third phase, as well as to seek private donations for that. But the first phase is truly about the restoration of the river, the safety of the animals, as well as the neighboring community. So those are the things that we really kept in heart. There is a video. I'm not sure if we have time to show just a smidget of it, but there was a video done by Georgia Power that really just shows a great effect of the river. I also want to open up that if you all are open, if you want to see the river, if you want to see the property, I would love to show that and to share that experience. It truly is awe-inspiring, honestly, to see how impactful the Flint River is that begins right here in College Park.
Are we okay with EPD as far as the disturbance that will occur along the creek when you remove the concrete and do some of this?
Yes, as far as EPD, we actually received some of the funding from the Brownsfield grant was done specifically for the multi-purpose. We're one of the few in the state that received a multi-purpose grant. So they are very aware and in support of the project. That's actually how I was able to provide those designs to you, was through that grant.
Great.
If somebody came by there last week, say like next week or so, is the grass, it was up pretty high the last time I was there. Has it been cut down a little bit so they could see it, or is it still high?
It is due to the rain. We did request a cut, but due to the rain last week, there was a delay in the cutting. There was a slight issue on Marta's side. So I will say that it is easier to walk. So if someone did want to walk it, it would be a little easier now.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Question, Tasha. Excellent presentation. That's amazing that I think that it's just an excellent opportunity, like you said, to extend the reserve. My question is, as you begin to build out the phases, well, first, the criteria qualification for the grant, does it have to, is it tied to it being a wetland in the Headwaters Reserve? And then second, does the phase out when you begin to install like the botanical gardens of the landscaping, does that phase out lend an opportunity to increase the greenery and the landscaping of our other parks within College Park to tie in the scenic view and the natural reserve presence within all our parks? Because we do have plants that are indigenous to, you know, our area, but does the grant allow that opportunity?
Sure. So for the first question, as far as for this grant specifically is towards passive recreation within certain demographic areas. As far as for this project, when it's saying passive, we have included the stream kind of wading, being able to walk through the stream, bird watching, walking, being able to lay and draw and read a book. Those are all passive. So that was included within this specific grant for opportunity, as well as for this grant, it is specific to this property. Now, I will, in my presentation, I am going over another grant opportunity that I did submit for that would be open to other properties within College Park, and that would be applicable. This one specifically, I will say that the grant that we're writing currently, no, the funds would only be able to be allocated towards those properties, but the greenery as well as really the greenery, the trees, the shrubs, those are all being done in kind by Trees Atlanta and Audubon, Georgia Audubon. So I think in us creating a collaborative relationship, that there will be other opportunities for us to expound upon the relationship created at the Headwaters to be really circulated throughout the city of College Park. And I'll expound upon that a little more in my, my economic development presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anyone have any other questions for Tasha? I think, again, Tasha, it was a wonderful presentation. I think it's a fabulous project, and I want to encourage anyone who has not taken the Flint tour. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Hannah took me on the tour in January of 2020 and just got to see, it's an amazing river, and just it's right here, you know. So I would definitely encourage anyone, if you haven't had that opportunity, to go ahead and do it. To see, so you can see it before it happens.
And I will share the link as well for the video, so that you can see it. And I challenge everyone. I was going to say specifically Leslie, because I'm right down the street from her at the park. But I challenge everyone to come visit the site and participate in the outdoor paddling activity, because truly, as a Georgia native, I would have never understood the importance of the Flint until really working with this project and experiencing it firsthand. It's like I said, an awe-inspiring opportunity.
Thank you again, Tasha.
Thank you.
Okay.
So what we needed this,
Yes.
this
We
time
do need to make it. Oh, okay, this is an action item. Okay.
I would like a motion in support of the concept of the plan, in support, basically in stating that you all approve the concept that I went over, and support it coming to fruition through the grant provided.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's a done deal.
Great.
Tasha.
You worked hard. That's real good, girl. Yeah.
Yeah, Tasha's working hard.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
We need to make a motion through mayor and council.
The motion I would need from mayor and council will actually be in November, because I'm going to come back to you all for a funding resolution at that point, and I'll go more into detail about that opportunity in November.
Yeah, this motion was from me as a chair to execute the document. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. All righty, let's move on with the GICC report.
Oh gosh, Tasha, that's a lot to follow behind. That's actually really great, really great. So at the GICC last month, we hosted the University of Phoenix commencement ceremonies. They had approximately about 45 people in attendance for that. And we also hosted the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. And over at the Gateway Center Arena, we had the Atlanta Dream. They finished out their season. They actually had 3 home games in the month of September. Unfortunately, they didn't make it to the playoffs, but there's always next year. And that's all we had. Are there any questions?
When are the Skyhawks gonna start playing?
Their home game, their first game is November 5th.
And I just got an email today, Denise, the Skyhawks are doing something October 30th. Wait, so
it's invitation only. It's a scrimmage game.
Okay, a scrimmage game. So, but we're looking forward to it. I'm just looking forward to that. Thanks. Thank you, Denise, for your
thank you all.
report. Okay, economic development reports. We'll start off with, is this Renee first? Or?
Yes. Well, good evening again. I'll be doing the Maine and Virginia updates for the month. Like it's still thinking.
Are you seeing September new businesses?
No, not yet. It's still on the front page of the report.
Still's not seeing it? I'll tell you what. Share screen.
Okay, gotta go a couple back. There you go.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, so for the month of September, we had 3 new businesses that received license, and you can see them listed there. We, well, I'll talk about that a little bit later. So those are the 3 businesses for September. On the next slide, I included this. October is National Art and Humanities Month. And we put together a program with the local schools. And if you see in the center, there was a map created, and all of the pink locations are where art is placed. I would advise you to pick up a map. There are maps located at each one of these locations as well. So you can start at any of those locations and then follow the route. But City Hall has some art as well as maps there. The students did some very awesome work, and very proud of them. So the art will be for the entire month of October. We will return them back to the students. And I'm working with the teachers right now to see if the students and the parents are interested in actually selling some of the art. I've had several inquiries to actually purchase some of the pieces already. So I think that's a great deal for the students as well. Still waiting on feedback from the teachers and the parents to see if that's going to be a viable option. So excited for that program. And we're having 2 events coming up later in this month. We had a scheduled event. It's called Anansi and the Colorful Kente Cloth. A storyteller was going to be on the grounds of the auditorium, and he's very interactive with percussion and art for the students. It was postponed because that entire week we had a monsoon of rain every day, and then that Friday the sun came out. But we postponed it to the 22nd, which is great because now we're coupling it with a movie on the lawn as well. So we'll have a lot going on that Friday evening. From 6 to 7 will be the storyteller, and then at 7 p.m. we'll start the movie. So hopefully we'll have a nice turnout for that as well. We had a grand opening on the 8th for Mint Dentistry, and we were allowed to do a tour of this new awesome facility. I'm so proud to have this business in downtown College Park. It is amazing. If you haven't had a chance to do a tour, please stop by. They're more than happy to kind of show you around if they're not heavy with patients. But they are now seeing patients. They have several local customers as well, I was informed, and some city employees. So just very proud to have this business in the community. And thank you for everyone that supported that day. Also this month on October 21st, we will be having a wine stroll. CPMSA will be hosting a wine stroll. Commemorative glasses are now on sale, and you can purchase those glasses at the link bit.ly/CPMSA Wine Stroll 21. And those glasses can be purchased. And then there's a map that's being created with about 23 businesses that each will have wine, as well as some of the businesses. Corner Grill, for instance, is doing some dip and some type of chips or something with their dip. I know the Wellness Spot is doing something special. So each business is tailoring it to their own. They may possibly be doing tours for people who haven't been there, but the goal is to get people to the businesses and let the community know, and people outside of the community know, what awesome things we have right here in our downtown. Also that night, so the wine stroll will be from 4 to 7 p.m., but from 4 to 6, We'll have the wine stroll. We also have live instrumentalists on the streets, on Main Street. They'll be stationed in different locations playing music, but from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we'll be having a jazz band on the lawn of the auditorium. So we'll have the live music going right up until 6 o'clock, and then we'll transition. We'll usher people down to the lawn at the auditorium for the night of jazz. So looking forward to those two events on the 21st of October. We had our third volunteer day for the mural, and this Saturday will likely be the last day. The muralist was out there today putting some finishing touches on some things, and he will have his portion completed by tomorrow. And so we will be sealing the deal, as Mr. Demetrius Taylor says, on this Saturday, weather permitting. It looks like it's going to be good weather now. So we're looking for a great day. It's going to be an awesome turnout. We have a large slate of volunteers planning to come out and celebrate this with us. And then after we complete that part of the project, we will be planning a ribbon cutting. So be on the lookout for that date to follow. And College Park will be having its first ever holiday tree trail. If you haven't signed up yet, there's still a couple more spots available. We have several businesses that have already purchased trees. So for instance, Drip Through Coffee from Virginia Avenue she's planning to win, she said. She's in it to win it, but they're planning to have a Drip Through Coffee tree. And then we have a Ward 1 tree, and we have Councilman Allen has contributed a tree for the city employees and their children to decorate. So we have a large array of trees. I was told HCP&A will be purchasing a tree. So there's a lot of different businesses and organizations. I'm looking for clearly College Park to buy a tree, but just putting that out there. But there will be a lot of trees on display, and this will be an awesome addition to what an awesome night we already have, the Light Up College Park. So, and when we light up the city with the Christmas lights, we'll also light up these awesome trees. And the trees will be judged, and it's only $1 a vote. And that pot of money will be split, and half of it will go to CPMSA, and half of it will go to a nonprofit that we will be naming. And yes, the mayor has purchased a tree as well. Yeah, we have several, well, not departments, but council, mayor and council, and then I think one department, and then some businesses and some community organizations. So we have a large array of trees that will be on display already. So looking forward to this awesome, awesome, awesome event. For my business spotlight this month, I could not think of one business on Virginia Avenue. I could not just pick one restaurant since there was such a variety of food on Virginia Avenue. So I just said, let's highlight them all. If you want British food, if you want Chinese food, if you want your good old American barbecue, if you want some Ethiopian food, it's all on Virginia Avenue. And what a place to be in a community that we have such a variety of different things. So I just wanted to highlight all of that international palette plate on Virginia Avenue for everyone, and just put that in everybody's mind. And yes, Zuby's Taco Kitchen as well. I did forget Zuby, so I apologize for all the Zuby listeners out there. And again, just a reminder of some upcoming events. Our next CPMSA board meeting is November 10th at 3 p.m. and we are still on Zoom. And if there are no questions for me, that will end my report.
Okay, so we're going into the
are
there any questions?
Thank you, Renee, for your report. And it's so exciting. Main Street is it's fun. Thank you so much. Okay, Tasha.
Sorry about that. I was excited. So going into the month of September, we have 22 new businesses within the Old National Corridor. And I have 2 screens of businesses. That's how busy we've been. Okay, so as far as I wanted to really update the great things going on in economic development and community development. So right now we're having increased collaboration. And when I'm stating that, that means that on a daily basis, I'm talking to and working with the police department, with building and grounds. I'm working with inspections. We're all talking to each other to really reach a common goal. And that is really enhancing the corridor and the work that's being done at the foundational level. We're also continuing to do the corridor walks. The last 3 months, I know I've championed for everyone to get out and visit Old National and to do the walk. Right now, we are going to be doing code compliance cleanup, and you'll see a slide about that a little later on. But really going out and walking the corridor allows you to see things that you don't see when you're driving. When you're driving, you're typically focused on the road, and when you're walking, you get to focus on all the things around you. So that has really been an enhancement to it. As well as the assisted communication between the business owners and the residents. So not only the business owners and residents are talking to each other, but business owners and business owners are talking to each other, and residents and apartment managers are now talking to each other. And honestly, I really attribute my background in economic development to be able to collab and have these conversations, because both of them are our customers, and we want to make sure that that we're really facilitating a great environment. Next slide. Okay, so we do have upcoming meetings for the Atlanta Aerotropolis CID. It is the second Thursday of each month, as well as the meetings for the Old National Merchants Association occurs the last Thursday of each month. That meeting is actually in person. Next slide. So some community development updates. What month? I'm like, what month is it? Back in September, myself as well as Officer Ellis attended the Georgia Association of Code Enforcement Conference. It was a great opportunity for us to talk with professionals in code enforcement throughout the state and to see where we're doing really good at and where we have room for improvement. Honestly, going through it, it really showed me that we as a city of College Park are going in the right direction, as well as I was able to expand my professional network to be able to visit and speak with other professionals here in the metro area. So luckily, Douglasville has offered to not only allow me, but to also allow my officers to come and shadow. So we're working on a date that we can go to Douglasville and give the officers an opportunity to see what a day in a different municipality is for them, so it gives us just another viewpoint of ways that we can enhance our current program. Another program that we're participating in and going back to collaboration, the Atlanta Aero CID is having a litter enforcement workshop. So myself and staff, as well as members from Public Works and the police department, will be attending. We have already confirmed our attendance for October 21st. This really gives an opportunity for us as a region to discuss litter as a holistic issue that we can work to collaboratively address. And then as well, we have been looking at parking improvements. This goes back to another collaborative effort. Myself, Chief McQuarrie, as well as Ada Caston from Public Works, we met today and really just did examples of parking along Walker Avenue, as well on Rugby, John Wesley, and Harvard, because we want to make sure that our residents, as well as our commercial districts, are not combative and that they're working together, and that we as a city are allowing for a cohesive relationship between the two. Next slide. So as I mentioned, that we are looking to do more corridor walks. In enhancing that program, we want to make sure that the city is in compliance. So the last Friday of each month, this one was specific to GMA week, but the last Friday of each month, we will be doing code compliance cleanup. And we invite you to join the code compliance staff, as well as a variety of departments in the city, where we'll be coming together to just make sure that the city is in compliance, that signs that are stickered on light poles are taken down, that litter is cleaned up, that businesses know that they have a outreach and who they're speaking to when it comes from the clerk's office, and really just give an opportunity for staff to be one in the community and to step out from our daily tasks. So I will forward that invitation onward to the BIDA board. If you would like to join, please feel free, because everybody can help to keep a clean community and make sure our community is in compliance. Next slide. And this is just a flyer on the litter enforcement workshop. Once again, it will be held October 21st from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. You all are welcome to attend. As far as it is targeted more to public works, law enforcement, code enforcement, civic leaders such as yourself. So please feel free, if you want to be part of the solution of litter within the South Fulton area, please feel free to attend, as it will be taking place at Impact Church. Next slide. All right, now let's talk about some money. So talking about the grants at hand, College Park, as you all know, was previously or is a recipient of the Brownsfield grant. We did receive a grant for the cleanup of the golf course, and we just completed that bid walk. That was another collaborative effort with Jason Kazi at the golf course, so that we can make sure that we schedule it so it does not impact the play of the course. So that went successfully well. We are awaiting to hear the results to see who will get the bid, and then we'll begin to schedule the work. As far as another, grant funds are now available for the Main Street assemblage, so that we can go ahead and start working. You can start seeing some dirt being dug up at the corner of Mercer and Main. Another grant as well that I assisted in submitting was in part with Trees Atlanta. There was an Arbor Day grant where funds, and this is what I was speaking with Ms. Jeffries, that funds would be available to enhance green infrastructure and basically to provide more greenery around the city. So I did provide space, and there is more opportunity to include on that list so that we can add additional trees where applicable within the city. That we should hear from, but it is a collaborative effort for that grant. The other is that, as you know, we did receive the National League of Cities, the vacant, abandoned, and dilapidated grant, so that we would be able to receive training targeted on those 3 issues. Our week is October 20th. So we will be presenting more information about College Park so that the VAD participants can get to know what's going on here in our city, and we can discuss some collaborative or innovative ways to be able to address those issues. So we will be going and speaking more about the city. Please feel free, if you want to join, let me know, and I'll send you that information so that we can all be a part of the discussion. And lastly, we did have the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Award. We look to submit it today. It is officially going to be submitted tomorrow, but we did close the narrative and the information today. As I stated earlier, this grant has the opportunity to provide $2.2 million to bring the first phase of the Finding the Flint Nature Preserve, the first nature preserve in the city of College Park. And we are crossing our fingers to make it to phase 2 of the grant process, but we feel very confident in our submission today. Lastly, I do see that already luckily included our video for the Headwaters Nature Preserve. If we're able to just play a short snippet, I would love for you to be able to see really the essence of the Flint River.
Do y'all hear anything?
No.
No? Okay, hold on one moment.
Artie, if we're not able to play it, can you just simply email it to, send it to us as an email, and we can all watch it so that we can move on with the reports?
I can.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry about that, Tasha.
No problem. Just make sure you watch it. It's really good. And I think that was about the end. I did have a question, so I'm going to answer the question that was in the chat, and then I'll open the floor up to questions. So as far as the interest as related to the old Target spot, as far as that property is still privately owned, we have gotten some interest from other developers, but we do refer them back to the owner. We do want to facilitate discussion if the owner is seeking to sell, but the owner is seeking to still do a mixed use development. So as of right now, we're just facilitating interest that is held within that site. Are there any additional questions related to the South Side or community development?
I have one question. Do you have an update on the old theater that the Candace Burns purchased?
So the update that I have, I don't have an update as far as development. There has been interest regarding that property. The update I would have would be more for code enforcement, and that would just relate to the property maintenance of it.
Yeah, there's been no further movement on the property other than it being purchased by Candy Burris. But we'll update you if there's anything to come up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any other questions for Tasha or comments?
Oh, and lastly, I just had some pictures of the charrette as well as of the nature preserve. I just really wanted to show that community outreach and community input is how we go into creating the next slide. And we wouldn't have been able to create this concept without the input from College Park residents and those really interested in the preservation of nature and restoration of the Flint River.
Thank you, Tasha. A lot of work and just some great things you got going on, and just thank you for sharing all that. So at this time, our director's report from Artie Jones.
All right, thank you. To provide you with a couple of updates, BAM, the development group who's acquiring property off of Columbia Avenue and College Street. They just submitted on Monday, their second extension for their project. They submitted to us an additional $15,000. This money is non-refundable, just like the last extension. So that's a good sign. No one would continue to pay $15,000 pops every 60 days unless they were serious about moving forward with the project to build 40,000 square foot office building in downtown College Park. On October 18th, there's a TEFRA hearing. TEFRA stands for Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act hearing. This is dealing with the Summersby project. Summersby is the project that is located off of West Fayetteville Road. The City of College Park Business and Industrial Development Authority is serving as a conduit for this tax credit program. To remind you, this is they're going to be building about 460 residential units, and there's I think about 25,000 square feet of retail, along with I believe somewhere between 4 and 6 owner-occupied townhomes. Chase Bank, I've recently had a meeting with a representative from Chase Bank, and they enlightened me to the fact that College Park area is eligible for the $5,500 Dream Maker grant. This is for home buyers. A $5,000 grant is available to individuals to acquire a home. And then if you take the home education grant course through them, they'll give you an additional $500. So that's $5,500 in grant money. Doesn't have to be paid back. That can be used towards their closing costs. And Chase Bank also has a 3% down payment option that if someone were to give you a gift, like the builder were to provide you, who was selling the home, if a builder wanted to provide you the down payment, he could provide you up to 3% of whatever that home was would cost you, and that could be used for your down payment also. And what you have is that if you're able to get the 5,500 Dreammaker program, you can also, if you also get the down payment gift donation, you can have a considerable amount that can go towards, owning your first home. And this particular program, believe it or not, it is not dependent upon your how much you make. It's not for low income. It's not for moderate income. It's not for high income. It's for anyone that lives within a certain geographic area. In this particular area, College Park, East Point, or the Tri-Cities area is one of those areas that qualifies. So as we get additional information, we will definitely be sharing it with the community. And we will, like I said, we will get that information out there so that we can help others who are interested in being homeowners to realize home ownership. Right now, the Department of Economic Development is working with the Aerotropolis Alliance and the ARC in actually applying for a grant through the Build Back Better program through the EDA. That's the American Rescue Plan. You've probably heard a little bit about it on the news lately. Phase 1 of the grant is a $500,000 grant to or award to the grantees. This particular program focuses on a regional approach. This particular area, the Aerotropolis, is actually, there's 5 different projects that's actually applying for this grant, and we're applying for it together collectively. So we are working with other communities in the Aerotropolis. It'll be packaged up, and believe it or not, it's going out. It's gonna be actually mailed out on tomorrow. If we are successful, after submission on October 19th, we will receive that $500,000 technical assistance grant by December 8th. And phase 2, if we're successful in phase 1, then we'll apply for phase 2. Phase 2 of the grant is actually due on March 1st, and they will make the award on September 2022. There's 20 to 30 regional coalitions that are going to receive a grant of, somewhere between 25 to 75 million average. And the maximum award per region is $100 million. So the grant in this particular area, or this award, can be up to $100 million for our region. College Park is looking at, probably with the projects that I've identified, we're looking at probably somewhere between $25 and $35 million that we're going to be applying for. The Keller Williams commercial, you remember that BIDA sold Keller Williams commercial, Atlanta Classic. We sold them a piece of property to build a new real estate office in College Park. That would be approximately somewhere between 16 to 20,000 square feet, and it would accommodate about 120 agents. Well, I'm proud to announce that they have been issued their land disturbance permit, and you should see construction very soon at 3800 College Street. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport recently released an RFP. The RFP was for property that was not located on the campus of the airport that is available for development. It's approximately 150 acres. The reason that I bring this up is that a portion of that property is located in the city of College Park off of Godby Road. So they're soliciting proposals right now. There was for projects, and I believe that this particular RFP is going to be out on the streets for anywhere from 45 to 60 days. So we look forward to working with the city of Atlanta as they entertain proposals for development of airport-owned properties. I wanted to provide you with a few statistics. I have a report, and I can share this report to you, but I'm just going to give you a snapshot. Recently, the city of Atlanta Department of Aviation did a report. They made a presentation, and I just wanted to provide you with a few figures. In 2019, there were 109 million passengers that came through the airport. In 2020, that number dropped to 79.7 million. And when I'm talking about the year or the fiscal year runs from July 1 until June 30th. So the fiscal passenger count was 79.7 million. And the reason for that drop off is, as you know, the world changed as we know it on March 13th when everything was shut down. So from March until June, that's why you have that significant drop from that 109 million to 79 million. And in the last fiscal year, which ended on June 30th, there was 49.7 million. So as you can see that the airport has taken a significant hit in their passenger count. The same thing with the aircraft operations. Aircraft operations is every time the plane takes off or lands. In FY 2019, there was 901,000 aircraft operations. And this is for passengers and also for cargo. In FY 2020, there was 723 aircraft operations. And in 2021, there was 616,000 aircraft operations. The thing about these aircraft operations, you don't see a huge drop from FY 2020 to FY 2021. But you have to realize that when they did resume operations, when they did start flying people after for so long, they were, the planes were, they were down to almost 75, operations per day instead of the 2,600 that they would normally see. These planes were not fully, they weren't filled with passengers. Most airlines that were still running flights has passengers spaced apart due to COVID. Hartsfield-Jackson, concessions and rental car revenue. 2019, they had $293 million in concessions and rental car revenue. FY 2020, they just had a fraction of that, maybe 20% of that, $47.2 million in revenue. And in 2021, they've had some increase. They had a significant increase in revenues, but that number continues to fluctuate, just like the passenger count through the airport. Whenever, I guess, the COVID rates are up, people are a little scareder, they're not going to travel. But then when they're low, people relax and they're back traveling again. Parking revenue is the same. In FY 2019, there was 38 million in parking revenue. FY 2020, $2.6 million in revenue, which is just terrible. And then FY 2021, 25.3 million in parking revenue. So what this is saying, that people aren't necessarily flying, but at the same time, parking revenue, people are still coming to the airport and parking for flights. And as an update, the soccer field at the 18-acre Jamestown property, that the Parks and Recreation program is actually having soccer games out at the field. I wanted to bring to everyone's attention that they have a cargo container, a storage container that they're going to have out at the soccer field. It's going to be right beside the restroom. It's going to be very close to the restroom facility. And they're also going to have portable lights at the soccer field for nighttime practice and games. When the lights are not being utilized, those lights are actually going to be placed in the cargo container to make sure that they don't come up missing. I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, whenever you see these particular items at the soccer field, that they are authorized to be there because it's for the operation of the soccer field. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Artie, I had one on the Chase Dreamer program, Dream Home program.
Yes, sir.
I assume that's only for new home buyers, first-time home buyers. Is that correct?
That's something that I'm not clear on. I did not see anything in their language that talked about first-time home buyers. I have both flyers here in my office, and I can circulate those with everybody that's on this call, on this Zoom, but there's nothing that said anything that it had to be a first-time home buyer.
Is that something we could check on?
Yes, sir. Any additional questions? Thank you.
Artie, thank you. And it was really great getting those statistics on air travel in Hartsfield. Thank you so much. And
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
We're tied at the hip with Hartsfield-Jackson. When things are not going well there, they're definitely not going to go well here. We're a hospitality community, and if people don't want to travel, that makes things very, very difficult because that's where we get the lion's share of our tax dollars. So I pay close attention to what's going on at the airport, because whenever there's a wave there, it becomes, a tsunami here in College Park.
Yeah, that's really good information to have. Thank you so much. Thank you for your report. Thank you everyone in economic development for your reports. You guys are really on the move. We appreciate you. At this time, we do not have any other issues for item 7. So I'd like to entertain a motion to come out of the regular session for the purpose of going into executive session to discuss real estate and litigation or anything else that we have on the table.
So move.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you.
All right, Jennifer, we'll give you a call when we're ready.
Wait, hold on one second. Hold on.
We need a motion for a council,
Yes,
don't we?
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Hold on.
Yes.
So move to go into executive session
For the purposes of?
for the purposes of real estate, et cetera.
Yeah, we're clear about why we go into executive session. Real estate and litigation, or? just real estate?
Personnel.
Is it just real estate and litigation, or is there
Okay.
anything else?
Personnel.
Mr. Lee, we have real estate litigation and personnel to discuss? Mr. Lee?
I don't know of any litigation. The only thing I know about from BIDA's standpoint is real estate.
The only thing I know of is real estate.
That's the only thing I know of as well. So, okay. The motion is to enter into executive session for the purposes of discussion of real estate.
So moved.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman Allen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. This was just a council vote. But it was a unanimous vote. So thank you.
All right, Jennifer, we'll give you a call when we're ready for you to come back. We can stop recording.